G'day friends and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today we're going to do a mini tutorial. Now I've been searching on the internet if there is a way to extract a frame from a time lapse captured on the little camera that could the M50. Now as you know, maybe because you already own one of these cameras or you've been trying to figure it out yourself, when you take a time lapse on the M50, it records only the MP4 movie file, either in 4K or 1080p. So today's video, we're going to figure out how to extract a frame or frames from an existing M50 time lapse. So stick around. And welcome back. Now, I was really surprised to find this particular tidbit of information on the internet. I was researching the topic and I came across a particular video on the Canon EOS 6D Mark II and its time-lapse capabilities. Now, the presenter told me that it uses a codec called Motion JPEG. Now, I did a bit of research on that and I found out that this particular codec keeps the frame data in the backend, in the metadata. And so that means that whatever can be compiled with this codec to turn it into a movie from frames, we can do it in reverse. So I did a bit of experimentation and I found out that the M50 can do it just fine. So today we're going to be using Premiere to accomplish this. So let me switch over to the desktop view and then we'll run through this. So I've already got my trusty Premiere Pro running here. So we're going to create a brand new project and we are going to give it like an awesome name that you will never forget. How about something like time lapse M50 extract. And let's say okay, and let's kick it off. All right, now what are we going to do? Let's zoom this. Let's go full screen on this. And what we're going to do first is we're going to import our time lapse. I've saved it on my desktop and it is an actual time lapse of a Sydney ferry as it comes into the Luna Park dock and then departs. So we'll have a look at it in a second. But what I'll do is I'll just right click on the file and create a new sequence from the clip. And let's see how that goes. So I'm going to just play it for you. There you go. Here comes a ferry. People get off, then people get on, and then off it goes. So I want to be able to extract something out of there, and that's sort of the whole plan for this particular video. So what are we going to do? Okay, so first of all, what I want to let you know is that you don't have to extract every single frame. So if you know what you want from this video, like for example, anything that's sort of happening as the people come on and get off, you don't need the rest of the stuff for this exercise. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim it. So I am going to wait till the ferry goes out of frame and then I'm just going to trim that, because what's going to happen is that it's going to create all these individual frames of the ferry, obviously, and you don't want ones that you're not going to use, right? So that's it. So I brought it down to under 10 seconds and that should be quite fast for us to do. So you can shorten it down to even smaller, especially even a smaller file, especially even if it's just, you know, some frames that you're interested in and not particularly the whole thing. So, you know, I'll leave that up to you. So you can trim this as much as you want. Now, this particular time lapse is in 4K. Right, so it is something that is captured in high quality, and obviously I want a nice shot of this one. So I'm going to get a really good quality picture. Unfortunately, it's only going to be a JPEG. It's not going to be a raw file. Unfortunately, that's the way it's captured. But you know, so be it. It's still going to be a high resolution file. So without further ado, let's do this thing. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of the file, and I'm going to then click on File and then Export and Media. Now, normally when you do this in Premiere, what it's going to ask you to do, it's going to ask you to export it to a video file. But what we're going to do here is change the format from AVI or whatever or H.264 from where it normally is. We're going to swap it to JPEG. Now, as you probably realized, I had already done that before in my tests. And so I just flipped it from AVI or H.264 to JPEG. Now, that's all you need to do. Now, before we continue, I just want to make sure that you do a couple of things beforehand. Because it's going to extract the video, which is one file, to multiple JPEG files. Obviously, it's going to create quite a number of them depending on the length of your time lapse. So what I suggest is create a folder first somewhere on your desktop or wherever it is you're going to extract it, to keep all the files in one place and not have them like go all over your file system, and you're going to have to clean that up later. At the same time, you could also give it a different name. Now, I'm going to just leave it at what it is, but you can call it. Now, that's going to be the name of the first frame, and then it's going to have consecutive numbering after this particular first frame. But that is really it. Now, what you do then is you just hit export, and it goes off and starts exporting that to your particular area. Now, I should listen to my own advice, because what I didn't do is create a folder. But luckily enough, I have an exported folder, or a folder that's called exported, that doesn't have any files in there, so it should be reasonably clean. So let's fast forward this video and get to the next sequence. Okay, so here we got our files. They're all in my exported folder, and they're all in numerical sequence. So as you can see, there's over 300 or so pictures in here, which is pretty good. So it captures the whole sequence of the ferry docking and then launching and taking off. So the system works fine. So let's have a look at one of these images in its full glory. I just want to make sure that we are quite content with the quality. So let's pick one of people getting off the boat. Now let me just bring up this screen here. So that's pretty good if you can see it. Sorry, here it is again. So that is one of the images. Now, I may not be too happy with this one. I want more people in my frame, in my shot. Here we go. Let's see. That's a good one. So it's got all the people walking into the ferry, and it looks pretty good. Now, let's have a look at this quality, right? So yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. There's a little bit of motion blur, obviously, because it's sort of being captured in movie mode on the M50. But it looks pretty darn good, if I have to say myself. So let's have a look at the picture quality. So the properties here is telling us that this is over a 2 megabit file, and the details of the file tell us is that it's 3840 by 2160 frames, which is reasonable. It's not quite full 4K, but it is something that is going to be very useful, especially if you want to use it on social media or you want to post this particular image. So that is pretty darn good, and it was that easy. So let's sort of go over that mechanism again. So bring in the file, make it into a sequence. When you then clip it in order to just get the size of the files you want, when you hit extract or export media, you make sure that the format is set to JPEG. do a folder for where your pictures are going to end up, and then give your output name to the file, and then obviously that's going to grow sequentially. Hit export, and those files will be created on the folder of your choice. And that was pretty darn good. So I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, that's a quick and short tutorial, but it serves its purpose. So for those of you who wanted to know how to extract a frame from an M50 time lapse, well, there you have it. You just need Premiere, unfortunately. If there is another program that can accomplish the same thing, please post it on the comments section below. I'm sure other M50 users would be also interested to find out if this is possible on other software. And I hope you got something out of it. So that's it. Hit the like button if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, ciao for now.